Okay, it's the time's 11 o'clock. I'd like to call the council meeting to order, please. Thank you very much. I did, yes. Okay. Teresa's Natalie coming? Where's she? Okay. Okay, let's get started, please. Appreciate everybody being here today. Happy Friday. First off, I want to know if there's any special intentions. Council member special intentions today? Anybody from the administration? None? Okay. Okay. I think we're going to do, I'm going to ask Ms. Councilwoman Dee Dunn to lead us in the morning prayer today, please. Now I'd like to ask our co-director, Ms. Catherine Topple, to please come to the podium and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. As a matter of housekeeping and some rules we have to follow, we're in the midst of political season, obviously. We had some qualifying candidates, Jefferson Parish statewide. There's actually a Kenner ordinance many people are familiar with that prohibits political activity at city meetings and for someone or against someone or in opposition. So we'd ask, obviously, everyone to respect the rule, Ordinance 7-179, to not use any time to support candidates or oppose them, because we can't let you do that under rule. But we hope that that is respected, and I'd like to proceed.
Yes, sir. Next, we have correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads. Mayor Glazer.
Think you fell asleep. All right, thank you. As you know, Tuesday night we had some weather come through the city of Kenner. It left over 4,500 residents without power for more than a couple of hours. When the power goes out in the city, it affects our sewage lift stations. We had 23 of our 80, I think 2 or 3 sewer lift stations left without power. Only a few of them have permanent generators, so we have to bring generators to have the lift stations back up and running. So without working traffic lights and everything, I'd just like to thank members of field services, general services, public works, wastewater, the police, Doug Dote's staff, because they were on top of it early. I'm sure y'all get all the text messages and emails, updates. But with that, they pretty much, in short notice, got out there and stayed out to, I think a few of them stayed after till almost 3 a.m. So getting the stuff out. This is a statement that I'm going to probably make a lot in the next couple of months or year and a half. As you know, Roosevelt between West Metairie and West Napoleon Boulevard, they're in bad shape. We're well into the process of redoing all of it, but with the current drought, it got even worse quick when the trees are reaching for more water and collapsing a lot of the roadways. We received an email yesterday from someone from LA, Joe Brown from LA DOTD Road Design, where Jose never stops on him asking, can it be completed a lot quicker? His response, he's not sure there's anything more that we can do to expedite the process. And states, as stated in the pre-design meeting, we will be foregoing 60% of submittals already. So they streamlining as much as they can. The hang-up is going to be with the environmentals. It's got to be a plan made before, whenever you're dealing with the federal government, it's got to be cleared with the environmental group. That's a lot of the hang-up. But it's well on its way. We're going to put some signs up at either end of Roosevelt. The residents in the area know, because we had a community meeting with them, but the traveling motorists that come through really don't know that it's actually, we started this one last October in the getting the traffic study done, but put up signs telling them that the project's already been started, so it's bad. I think Bo Brother is meeting with Councilman Ronnie to get out there and make even better temporary repairs so you're not riding a roller coaster. With some good news, the exercise equipment donated by Kenner Rotary and Jefferson Parish Councilman Dominic Impastato is installed and ready for use. I think they took the fence down around it yesterday. So any of you council members want to go exercise, we have new exercise equipment at City Park. And staying in City Park, also we have a new sidewalk that's poured and ready to be used at the dog park. The 6 benches are installed and ready for use, and we have a couple more improvements going to be made to that area. And if anyone that uses the dog park wants to have some input, email my office, because we met with a lot of the users out there that meet every afternoon and came up with some of their ideas, and that's where some of these benches came from, the sidewalk. So, I don't go out to the dog park much, so I rely on people that use it to give ideas and what's needed out there. And also, Councilman had made a comment about a political ordinance we have. We have a political sign ordinance in the city of Kenner that through the years has been beat up by every candidate, every citizen group. So letting the public know, we're going to be reaching out to all of you council members to probably revisit to find out, is it needed? Does it need to be revised, just repealed? Because it's causing confusion with the candidates. And that's something you never want to have if, you have political candidates getting mixed information from several different people. So I think in the near future, we'll meet with each one of y'all and see if y'all want to revise it or repeal it or leave it as it is. So with that said, that's it, Mr. Council President.
Thank you, Mayor Glazer. Or Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Under resolutions, motions, and other items from the floor, Mr. Chairman, I've received a request to amend the agenda this morning to add item 16L, an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between the City of Kenner and the Parish of Jefferson to provide street repairs and resurfacing to 31st Street between Helena Street and the Duncan Canal in Kenner, Louisiana, in an amount not to exceed $340,000. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to object to the council amending the agenda? Please come forward. Seeing none, I have a motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Lahat to amend the agenda. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Under the consent agenda, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of August 3rd, 2023. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. Item 2A is a resolution granting. I'm sorry, that motion passed 6-0. For the clerk to clarify that Councilman Brennan is absent. I apologize. Item 2A is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Friends of Rivertown on September 15, 2023 for the El Grito celebration of Mexico's independence at Kenner Heritage Park, 2015, 4th Street, being property owned by the City of Kenner. Item 2B is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Friends of Rivertown on September 16, 2023 for the Hispanic Heritage Fair at Kenner Heritage Park, 2015, 4th Street, being property owned by the City of Kenner. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2352-23, the City of Kenner to hold a public gathering on September 16, 2023 from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the purpose of a Hispanic Heritage Fair at Heritage Park in Kenner, Louisiana. Item 3B is application number 2353-23, the City of Kenner to hold a public gathering on September 15, 2023 from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the purpose of a celebration of Mexico's independence at Heritage Park. And that will conclude the consent agenda.
All right, motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Under the public appearance agenda, we have item 8, public hearings and final passage. Item 8A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,336. An ordinance amending the operating budget for fiscal year 2023/2024 to defund the Public Works Director and establish funding for the Mayor's Executive Coordinator of Intergovernmental Affairs and Strategic Development in the General Municipal Department.
Motion by Councilmember Ladd, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to open the public hearing. Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this matter? Mr. Greg Teff, you have 3 minutes, okay?
Greg Tapp, 5th District. I brought this up. My position hasn't changed. I'm opposed to doing this. But I'm going to add this because, as the mayor has often said to me, when I come up here, is I should do my homework before. And I just want to remind the council and the public, for that matter, what this position is responsible for. The department is responsible for the maintenance and improvements of the City of Kenner infrastructure, and it pertains to streets, drainage, street lights, traffic signals, and many city buildings. Now think about that for just a moment. When Ida hit, you needed an expert out there to try to put everything together. That's what this individual does. And now we want to defund it. And we want to bring a position in that is created when the city actually needs or can use that money, one, for the fire department. I mean, if the fire department gave back 900, you add 130 to that, now you're really up there. I mean, we could really do a lot for the fire department, whether it's equipment or what have you. All I'm saying is, look at the importance of the position. Why it hasn't been filled, I don't know. My homework didn't go that far because when you go on the website and do research, it's blank. But I tried. I just want everybody to know I did try. But my point is, this position is too important. We really probably need to fill it, find someone that has the expertise, and keep it as is, and not defund it just to create a position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Teft. Next up at the podium, Mr. Al Morella. Thank you
Al
for coming.
Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 51 years.
I got 3 minutes, Mr. Al. Thank
I
you.
got you, buddy. Plenty of time. First of all, I want to try to put this in perspective. What we're doing is we're eliminating public works by defunding it, and you restructuring and going to name it, you're going to restructure the Public Works Department under a new title or a new name. This is what we're doing. We're not adding anything. We're eliminating Public Works, going to restructure it under a different title for that department. Am I correct on that? Anybody?
We're just eliminating one position, not the department, just a director's position. I'll
Okay.
explain once you're finished. I'll be the last one to make a presentation.
Okay, but what I'm concerned about, Mayor, is that we're not adding another position. We are filling a position that was open. We're not adding anything. That's what I'm mostly concerned with. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Anybody got any comments, any questions? Thank you.
Anybody else on the public wishing to address us? Seeing none.
I'd like to make a few comments
Oh,
there,
I'm sorry,
Council
Mayor
President,
Blazer, absolutely.
before you move on. Just to explain why. I got a call from one council member asking, does it just have to be put in front of council? I said, yes, it's a budget amendment is the reason it's here. It has nothing to do with the positions and anything like that, because the position is already created in this budget. The Public Works Director is created in this budget. Before I took office, July of last year, we started a search for directors. Some remain that were with the city, some we brought in from outside. I quickly learned that the private sector for professional engineers pay a lot more for a lot less experience than we pay. Currently, the Public Works Director is Jose Gonzalez, and he's also the CAO. And he'll tell you 90% of his time is Public Works Director-related stuff. I left it up to him. He interviews all the people. I sat in, he asked the questions. We went through it. Nobody fit the bill. What this does is it puts burdens on other departments with everything that goes in the mayor's office and CAO's office that's not getting done. You're the 6th or 7th largest city in the state of Louisiana with nobody assigned to the legislature to advocate for the city of Kenner other than paid lobbyists to give you as much time as they can with all their other clients. You have sheriff's departments smaller than the city of Kenner with full-time people assigned to a legislator. So when Jose's trying to juggle all of these hats, the city's actually losing out on some of these face-to-face meetings in not only in Baton Rouge, in local government, in the chamber, in all these associations, and then with your Washington delegation. We don't get these, $750,000 just given to us because we're nice people. It's the constant visiting these state reps, these legislators in Washington that give us the money. That's how we do it. This position is in the mayor's office and unfilled. Look, the person that I asked to do this was one of the first people I've asked to come work for the city of Kenner after last March. And I was told no. She said, come back later, and come back later, come back later. Approached again that, we're not going to fill anything to give Jose some stuff. Look, if I didn't want this to be transparent, I'd have made it the Public Works Director, and the public would have never known what happened. They said, oh, we hired a Public Works Director, that's it, move on. Or yank Jose out of the CAO's position and make him the Public Works Director. I think that would be a horrible move for morale in the office, but he needs help. The two DCAOs need help. They have little time in redoing the whole city's personnel book, which is very much outdated. All the policy and planning issues, the personnel issues take up a long time in the meeting of everybody else that wants to do business with the city. So I feel there is another avenue, is put somebody in the mayor's office that can handle a lot of the stuff that Jose can't handle, that's not technical related with all these large public works projects, capital projects, and things like that. So that's the only reason, is asking you to amend the budget, not to create a position, just to fund this thing. Actually, it's going to save the city $80-something thousand, because by eliminating and combining these two salaries, I heard a lot of people talking about health benefits. She's not taking health insurance, so actually it saves, just $19,000 in that position. With the other position added together, it's about $65,000 that the budget will be reduced by this move. And that's pretty much my explanation of why we're sitting here trying to amend the budget. And thanks.
Okay, we're going to close the, when we close the public hearing, then we'll go back and then discussion. Procedurally correct, right? Yes. All right, this time, we're going to motion by Councilmember LaHatme, second by Councilmember Brannigan to close the public hearing. Council members in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, now we're back to the
Any-
original.
Hang on. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
All right, back to the passage of the ordinance. Mr. Gonzalez?
All I want to add to that is that, in short, the Public Works Department is not going to be neglected. I have assumed those duties from day one, and I will continue to assume those duties from this point forward.
Am I in the council? Good. Mr. Councilman Wilmot?
Yeah, so, Mayor, there's a position that you intend to fill, correct?
We filled it already.
Okay, and who might that be?
Valerie Brolin.
Is she here today?
She is. I don't know where, but yeah.
Okay.
She was the deputy CAO for Jefferson Parish under Cynthia Shang. Brought her on from, I think she was a chief administrative assistant in the former administration in the parish, and Cynthia promoted her to deputy CAO. And you didn't hear a complaint at all out of the Jefferson Parish government that has a $600 and some odd million budget and manages over 6,000 employees. So I think she's more than qualified, and she started here. Look, most of the people at this table started in the city of Kenner, moved away, and you try to get them to come back to Kenner. We can't pay them enough. She took a pay cut to come here, and she started Monday before last.
So it's fair to say she's got a strong background in the area that she's going into for the city.
That is correct. She was the director of Jefferson Finance Authority before she was moved into the parish government and promoted all the way up to the number 3 in charge in Jefferson Parish.
Okay. And if you will, Ms. Brolin, just tell us a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. No, I think I'm glad that you asked, and I think that it is appropriate, you know, although we're asking the council to just make a budget amendment, the mayor hired me, and I feel it appropriate if I could just say a little bit about my experience and my background.
Please.
So I began my career in government in 2008 under Mayor Ed Muniz. Actually, the council clerk was going to become the council clerk, and Mayor Muniz needed an executive coordinator, so I took that position. Throughout my time in Kenner, I was in Kenner for 8 years until I went to Jefferson Parish in 2016. Some departments lost directors at the same time, so there were times where I was the purchasing director, the IT director, and then also I helped the mayor and the administration with special projects and research and did things for the mayor's office. I went to the parish in 2016, and I took a position as a chief administrative assistant. The parish typically has about 5 of those, and each of them manage a cluster of parish departments. So when I went there, I oversaw the directors and operations of 6 parish departments at the time. In 2017, there was an opportunity for me to take a position at an agency called the Jefferson Parish Finance Authority, which started out issuing bonds in the 1980s so that people could get reasonable interest rates for their homes. But since the interest rate, the rates are lower, much lower than they were in the 80s, the business model changed, and they do down payment assistance for first-time and repeat home buyers. At that time, that executive director was retiring. The Jefferson Parish Inspector General had a major audit going on with that agency, and I went in and took care of all of those findings, including getting legislation passed at the parish level to correct some of those issues. And I even worked with State Representative Joe Stagney very closely to get a state law changed so that we could correct the findings in the audit. And when President Lee Shang won the parish presidency, much to my delight and surprise, she asked me to come back to the administration and promoted me to Deputy Chief Operating Officer. So with the Chief Operating Officer and the parish president, we oversaw the operations of all 43 parish departments. We did so in the midst of unprecedented things like a pandemic, trying to figure out how to navigate that. And then we also worked through Hurricane Ida together as well, where I lived at the Emergency Operations Center for 3 weeks. I loved my time at the parish. It's a lot, it's big, but Kenner is my home. I live in District 5. I'm a Wood Lake resident with my husband. I have 3 children. Kenner's where my heart is. When the mayor approached me a year ago, I turned him down. However, it just seems that right now, considering the type of help that Mr. Gonzalez needs, that I feel that I have a lot to give to the city in terms of working together with this team to do great things, and I'm very, very excited to be back. So,
Thank you, Ms. Brolin. You're very well-spoken, and you got an extensive background, and welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Councilman Brannigan?
Well, when I look at this, it seems to be a great common sense approach. We have the guru of public works, Jose Gonzalez, still involved with the administration, and now we have Valerie coming in to help the administration get through the problems that we deal with daily, and I think this is a no-brainer.
I will add one more thing. One of the biggest responsibilities that I had as Deputy Chief Operating Officer was basically being the liaison between the administration and the parish council. I was responsible for always keeping them updated and informed and aware of just different things that were going on, and I fully intend to work with you guys as well in terms of communication. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Happy to have you, Valerie. And since day one, I want to say Public Works responses have been almost same day through Jose. I've had detailed explanations he always gives us about anything Public Works, street drainage related. It's been outstanding. So I don't think we're going to lose a beat with this. This is a no-brainer for me as well. All right, no further discussion. We're going to vote. Motion by Councilmember Lahat, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to approve. Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 8B is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,345, an ordinance authorizing a public hearing and amendment number 2 to the fiscal year 2016 annual action plan of the Community Development Block Grant Program for the Community Development Department.
So motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Dunn to open the public hearing. Council members in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. I mean 6-0. Sorry, y'all.
It's okay. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council? Or Ms. Tamithia was here at the podium, so the floor is yours.
Jamithia Shaw on behalf of DeJuan Jones. She hats up here at Unity New Orleans on behalf of the city of Kenner. So in her stead, I am here to discuss item 8B. Every year we come before you just to make sure that we don't lose funding for any funds that we receive from the federal government. The federal government gives you about 7 years to expend funds. So this is from 2016. However, like Ms. Brolin was saying, when you have pandemics with the Community Development Department, a lot of our interaction is directly with people, getting them intake for, projects such as going into their homes. So for 3 years, we couldn't do any of that because of the pandemic. However, we're back to it. So what we're coming before you to do is just to move all of those unused funds into one pot and make those some street improvements, some public infrastructure to spend the funds before September 27th, 2023, and that way we will remain in compliance with HUD. Any questions? Thank you.
Council President,
Yes, Mayor Glazer.
just going to make one This 8B is going to be associated with 16L later, so pay attention to, I'll talk about it when 16L comes up, okay?
Okay, anybody else? Public? All right, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Dunn to close the public hearing. Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Mr. Mayor, 6-0. Mr. Mayor, there's no comment.
meeting,
You might
yes.
want to comment here. Or you'll comment
No,
here.
I'll make the comment why it came from the floor next
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, now we're voting on the actual ordinance. Any other discussion? Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Dunn to approve. Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 8C is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,334, an ordinance rescinding ordinance 5710 adopted June 19, 1986, which approved the re-subdivision of lots 14, 15, 16, 17, and the adjoining portion of the revoked 20-foot alley, Square 5, Hanson City subdivision into new lot 15A, and also approved a conditional use permit for a daycare center on lots 12, 13, and 15A to place 15A back into its original platted lots and to remove the conditional use of a daycare center from lots 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and a portion of the revoked 20-foot alley abutting lots 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16.
Motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Schwartz to open the public hearing. Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
All right, we're going to go with Mr. Windows on the podium. Explain this to us, if you don't mind.
Yes, thank you, Council President. It does seem quite complicated, but it's actually very simple. When the original ordinance re-subdividing the property was passed, it included Lot 17. At the time, the ordinance indicated Ms. Wilma Irvin was the owner of Lot 17. In fact, she was only a partial owner of Lot 17. Was not the full, she did not have full ownership, and the other owners did not sign off on the re-subdivision. Subsequent to that, when Lot 15A was created over the years, additional issues came up. One being Lot 17 became the subject of several tax sales, and several other interests obtained interest in that portion of Lot 15A, which was formerly Lot 17. The parish assessor's office did not pick up the re-subdivision. So for years, and to this day, the parish assessor's office still recognizes lots 14, 15, and 16, such that when Ms. Irvin sold those lots at one point, they were listed in the act of sale as lots 14, 15, and 16. Of course, those lots legally did not exist anymore. So this came on my radar. A representative of Ms. Irvin's contacted me. There were some issues. As I began to research it, I found a lot of these issues and these problems. And so I recommended that they needed to go, that I could not help her anymore. She needed a title attorney because she had to work out the title issues with Lot 17. Because as part of Lot 15A, if she doesn't have clear title to that portion of the lot, she can't sell it. So she did eventually hire a title attorney, Ms. Olivia Byers, and she's here today to answer any questions that you may have subsequent to my presentation. So essentially what I determined was that in order for Ms. Irvin to be able to sell the lots that she has clear ownership to and to put those properties back into commerce, that we should rescind the re-subdivision that was done, because it wasn't done really, I don't want to say it was done illegally, but it was done with Lot 17 that she did not have the actual legal authority, the full legal authority to include in the re-subdivision. And she also requested to remove the conditional use for the daycare center, which I had no problem with that. And so that's what we're basically doing. We're rescinding that original ordinance and putting the lots back in their original platted form, which will then leave the 20-foot alley that had been revoked separately. And so every lot that abuts a revoked alley gets half of that alley. So the lots in this particular ordinance that abut the alley, they will still have ownership to that 10 by 25 or 30-foot portion. But this will allow Ms. Irvin to actually sell lots 12 through 16, which I believe she plans to do, and then they will have to come back and re-subdivide those to develop it. This was the easiest way And then 17 can be dealt with on its own. There's all kind of problems with that. It may never fully get to a single ownership. So that's why we're doing this.
Any questions? Nothing for me. Anybody, any other council member? Councilman Wilmot.
Thank you, and I appreciate that explanation. First off, some people might think that that's a simple explanation, but it certainly is complicated, and you did an excellent job, though, laying out the groundwork, so thank you for that. But I would like to know, as far as the owners are concerned, all owners know that this is taking place?
So Ms. Irvin actually has full ownership of lots 12 through 16.
Oh,
It's only the portion of the re-subdivided lot, formerly lot 17, that has a diffuse ownership, including tax sales, in which some of those people I believe, have been deceased now. So it's a nightmare. And so we're just that lot may never get developed, it may never get sold, because there may never be a point where someone has the full legal authority that could pass muster on a title search.
And this by doing this is going to help correct that problem?
Yeah, it's gonna basically put the lots back to where they were in 1983 or so, when the ordinance was done. And now she can sell lots 12 through 16, and then that person can then come to the planning department when they want to develop it. They'll have to re-subdivide it, but it'll be a simple re-subdivision. I can approve it administratively, and then they'll be able to get permits for whatever they want to do within the context of the zoning that's on the property.
Thank you very much for bringing us through all that, and that's, on your part, excellent. Thank you.
Great presentation, Wendell. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Administration? All right. Anybody in the public wishing to comment on this while the public hearing's open? Seeing none, go ahead and close the public hearing. Motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Schwartz to close the public hearing. Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
Back to the original ordinance. Motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Schwartz to approve. Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 8D is a public hearing regarding a resolution authorizing a public hearing to be held on August 18, 2023, during the regularly scheduled meeting of the Council of the City of Kenner to allow the citizens of Kenner the opportunity to comment on the Kenner Police Department's application to the United States Department of Justice Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program, fiscal year 2023, local solicitation of $16,115 for police officer overtime for law enforcement activities and criminal investigations.
Motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to open the public hearing on this issue. Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
Anybody in the audience wishing to address us on this issue? We're in the public hearing part right now. Anybody? Let's close the public hearing, then we'll have comment maybe from Chief Conley. Let's go ahead and close the public hearing. Motion by Councilmember McKinney, second by Councilmember Brannigan to close the public hearing. Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
All right, back to the public hearing, the resolution. Council members, Chief, if you give us a little explanation.
Basically, this is a recurring grant that we apply for every year. The overtime is utilized with a lot of police officers, communication officers, administrators to investigate crimes in neighborhoods, targeted neighborhoods that might have a high intensity of crime, commercial areas. But it's part of the reporting requirement is that we have the public hearing. So this money is going to go into the overtime for really patrol officers and detectives and making sure our community is safe.
Sounds great to me. Any other council members? All right, let's go to the resolution itself. Motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to approve. Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 9 is ordinances for the sale, purchase, transfer, lease, and/or alienation of immovable property. Item 9A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,320, an ordinance approving the sale of a 60-foot by 150-foot portion of unimproved 7th Street right-of-way between Square 59 and 74, Old Kenner subdivision, Kenner, Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, which property is owned by the city of Kenner.
Motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Schwartz to open the public hearing on this issue. Councilmembers in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Public
See-
hearing is now open.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
Thanks, Council President. I'm
Go ahead.
back again. So this is a unused right-of-way, 60 by 150, that the applicant is James Southern. He's doing business as Gillette Tire. You might be familiar with, they've been there for a very long time. So long that they have actually been leasing this right-of-way from the city for the last like 30 years. And so now they want to buy it. There's no public utilities of any sort underneath that property. It actually, once it's sold, we would consider it a legal lot of record. It would meet the minimum lot requirements of the special industrial zoning district. Gillette is covered under a PUD, but the property adjacent to on the north side is owned by the railroad. They have no objection, and I think this is a win for the city. It appraised at $218,000. So it's a nice sale price. We would not get. It would take years for us to get that amount of money, and with inflation, it would slowly erode the amount that we would actually be obtaining. So this is a sale. The applicant has agreed to the sale price, and Planning Commission recommended approval.
Councilmember Schwartz.
Well, now, how much you said the property was appraised for?
$218,000.
218?
218, yes.
It's 118. I think in the paperwork it says
118?
Did it say? I don't think. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of the other. Maybe it might be 118. I'm trying to remember. It was there was another property I was dealing with just the other day, so it might be 118,000. It's significantly more than what the rental was obtained over the years from the city. So they have agreed to the sale price. The applicant.
Does it go to C1 to possible S?
Well, we would once it's sold, it's half of the property is going to be automatically zoned special industrial. The other half would become part of the PUD that's existing on the property, which would permit everything that they want to do. As I said, they have been leasing this right-of-way from the city for like 30 years already. So.
Okay.
Any other council members? Councilmember Wilmot.
Wendell, I have a procedural, I guess, question. There was one appraisal done or more than one?
One appraisal, be paid for by the applicant. So the way the process works, if someone approaches us about purchasing a right-of-way or a building or any city property, we then go to the administration and tell them, this is what someone is looking to do, and then once it's determined that there's no need for it for a public purpose, we tell the applicant, and we get appraisal bids for the property from the Jefferson Parish approved list of appraisers. We send those bids to the applicant. They can pick whichever one they want. They bring us a check made out to the city of Kenner for the appraisal amount. We order the appraisal. It comes back, we send it to the applicant, and then they make the decision as to whether they want to move forward or not.
Okay, and I just note that the appraisal is attached to the documents that
It
have
should have been in all
submitted.
the entire appraisal was sent to the council as part of the case packet.
And it indicates 118.
Okay, yeah, I misspoke. I apologize. I had something else in my head, and
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just wanted to note it is on the record.
yes.
Thank
And
you.
it should be in the ordinance as well, the sale amount. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Yeah, I was worried about that too, to make sure it was the right number, but
Yes,
that's,
yes.
not a problem if that's the appraised value. So this is a long-time property used by a long-time Kenner business we're selling to. That's
Yeah, 30
used a
years
very
they've been
long
leasing
time.
the property from us.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on this issue. Motion by Councilmember Dunn, second by Councilmember Schwartz to close the public hearing. Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
Okay, back to the original ordinance. Any further discussion? Seeing none, motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Schwartz to approve. Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 11A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,321, an ordinance amending the City of Kenner's Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, Unified Development Code, specifically side and rear setback requirements for development in the light industrial and heavy industrial zoning districts, Article 6, zoning, Section 6.11 A and B, to allow no required side or rear yard setbacks except where a lot abuts a residential zoning district.
So motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Schwartz to open the public hearing on this issue. Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
Wendell. once
Still
again,
here.
You got these lined up like planes today coming in.
So I'm the one who instigated this. I talked to the administration, specifically Ms. Vallow, about my concerns that we were causing unnecessary delays on the part of developers in our industrial districts, because when the Unified Development Code was adopted, the setbacks were put in there for side and rear yards. Prior to the adoption of the UDC, there were no setback requirements. And so we have had an inordinate amount of variance requests from developers. So if someone's ready to develop their property in the industrial zoning district and they don't want to have side or rear yard setbacks because properties around them who were developed before don't have side or rear setbacks, code enforcement unfortunately has to tell them you need to go get a variance. And that could slow the process of development down by 2 to 3 months. And I thought that was unreasonable, given that Jefferson Parish nor St. Charles Parish require setbacks in their industrial districts, except where it abuts residential. So if they're abutting a residential for some reason, they're required to have I think a 20-foot rear and a 10-foot side. So the only thing we're changing is that if someone doesn't abut residential and they don't want to build to, and they want to build to the property line, they can do that, which is what someone in C2 can do. Our C2 regulations don't require side yards. If they don't want to build to their side yard, then they are required to have at least a 3-foot minimum setback. So on the side or in the rear. This is just like, I just wanted to make the process for development go smoother in the city.
So,
And
all that complicated stuff you said, it removes red tape for businesses in Kenner to better be able
that's
to
exactly
develop
right.
and build things.
And
Okay.
we're in line with adjacent, we're not doing something that is like, we're not the lone wolf here. St. Charles Parish has no required setbacks in their industrial districts, and neither does Jefferson Parish.
Council members, any questions?
And just so we're clear, if someone does build to the property line, the code enforcement department is required to have them, under the building codes, build a certain level of fire. I don't know the exact parameters, but certain types of walls, you have to build like a 10-hour firewall. And so there are checks at the permitting stage if they want to build to the lot line, so that they're just not building a building that could go up in flames and burn the next store building down. There are firewall requirements that have to be met.
Councilmember Wilmot.
If you can, Wendell, go back over the setbacks, the lengths of those setbacks, those distances.
Under the current zoning?
No.
Or what it's going to be?
Yeah, what it's
So
gonna be.
what it's going to be now is if I own property in an industrial district and I want to develop it, I don't have to have a setback on the side or rear yard. I have to have a front yard setback still. We're not doing anything to remove the requirements of a 20-foot front yard setback. It's only side and rear yards that people don't want to meet because they want to build to the property line for whatever reason. And we allowed that up into 2016. And so I'm just putting it back to remove so that they don't have to build, they can build to the property line. As I said, if they build to the property line, when they go to code enforcement and code evaluates their plans, there's going to be requirements for a certain type of firewall. And it varies depending on, I think, the building type. Is that, yeah, so, you know, and if they don't want to build to the rear or side yard, they still have to maintain a minimum of 3 foot on a setback.
So what's the current rule?
10-foot side yard, I believe, and 20 in the rear, or 5 and 10. But it's, yeah, so it's, we're putting it back to where it was and to be consistent with St. Charles Parish and Jefferson Parish, who are around us, so that no one says, well, I can go build in Jefferson to the property line.
So we're different as far as that goes right now.
Yeah. We've had like 7 variance cases in the last 7 months, almost one a month for this. And after like 4 or 5, I just sat down and said, this is ridiculous. We're holding these people up from building their development while they wait for a variance that they're going to get. They're going to get the variance because the BZA looks at what's around a property. If I go for a variance and everybody around me is doing the same thing, they're going to permit that. So I'm just taking away the red tape. So if someone goes to code enforcement with plans to build to the lot line, code enforcement can evaluate their plans, and if they meet the code, issue a permit right there. No more 2.5 month waiting period.
So you had maybe 5,
We've had
6 so far?
Over 5. I'd say, I think 7.
Okay, and most of those, all those were approved?
All of those in industrial districts who wanted to build to the property line.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you, that's all.
Anybody else? Anybody from the public wishing to address us on this issue while the public hearing is open? All right, seeing none, let's go ahead and close the public hearing. Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, second by Councilmember Schwartz to close the public hearing. Councilmembers in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
Back to the ordinance itself. Any further discussion? Seeing none, motion by Councilmember Brannigan, second by Councilmember Schwartz to approve. Councilmembers in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. Item 12A is summary ordinance number 13,337, an ordinance authorizing the City of Kenner and the Kenner Police Department to hold a public auction on September 21st, 2023 to sell surplus movable property no longer needed for public purpose and setting the terms and disposition of the proceeds from the sale.
Got a motion by Councilmember McKinney, second by Councilmember Wilmot. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, let's vote. Councilmembers in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the waiver of land use permitting form for temporary housing and shelter assistance in the City of Kenner for the 2023 calendar year.
Got a motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Lahat. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Deputy CAO, Ms. Amy Vallet.
Good morning, everyone. This is customary paperwork that we're obligated to file with the GOSEP in order to waive any of our zoning restrictions in the event that we have an emergency which require temporary housing. So that would be the citizens being able to have a trailer on their home, despite the fact that Wendell has so many zoning regulations with regard to it. So that's just to make sure we have everything in place for this season for hurricanes.
Anybody else? Council members? All right. Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 13B is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute those documents and agreements required in implementing a grant under the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program through the Restore Louisiana Infrastructure, FEMA Public Assistance Non-Federal Share Match Program for the City of Kenner in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida.
Got a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 13,338, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Ray Brothers Incorporated to furnish and install replacement custom exterior wall panels at the Pontchartrain Convention and Civic Center, 4545 Williams Boulevard, Kenner, Louisiana, in accordance with seal bid 23-6782 in the amount of $61,977 for the Department of General Services.
Got a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Lahat. Anyone wishing to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, we're going to vote. Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 13,339, an ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the agreement between the City of Kenner and Blue Williams LLP to extend the term and increase the not-to-exceed amount by $100,000.
Got a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Dunn. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Mr. Almarella, you have 3 minutes.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 51 years. Need an explanation on this, why we extending this. We already know what the reason for the 100,000 is, because that coincides with the extension, but I'd like to get an explanation why we extending this.
Well, Blue Williams primarily or exclusively deals with fire department litigation, and being that we have new litigation with the fire department, we have to extend their agreement and up the cap to pay for their defense.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Anybody got any comments, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morella. Anybody else? Let's vote. Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 13,340, an ordinance approving a professional services agreement with Design Engineering Incorporated regarding Power Boulevard median improvements, West Esplanade Avenue to Vintage Drive, state project number H.011779, federal aid project number H.011779, Kenner Public Works number 2014-001B-CIP, and an amount not to exceed $275,000 for the Department of Public Works.
Got a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Lahat. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Mr. Gonzalez, this is the power, the project, the MASH project, 8020. Is that correct?
This is the federal aid project that calls for medium improvements on Power Boulevard between West Esplanade and Vintage. This project is probably going to go in conjunction with the parish project that calls for Vintage Drive, south side between Power and Wilson. They'll be doing similar work. It's going to be a pedestrian path, a combination pedestrian bicycle path.
And they're putting a bridge, correct, too, on the right side? This is the bridge project as well?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
They're both federal aid, 80% financed by the federal government.
Yeah, a lot of people use that path in my district, so they're excited about this. So thank you so much for working and making this happen.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Councilmembers in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 13,341, an ordinance approving an agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, state project number H.015120, federal aid project number H.015120 regarding Roosevelt Boulevard, West Napoleon to West Metairie.
Got a motion by Councilmember Schwartz, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 13,342. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Cass Brothers Incorporated by the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development in the amount of $3,399,654.60 for Power Boulevard median improvements, state project number H.011779, federal aid project number H.011779, Kenner Public Works number 2014-001B-CIP for the Department of Public Works.
Got a motion by Councilmember Lahat, second by Councilmember McKinney. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Jose, this is the same project.
Same thing, being that it's a federal aid project, we have to concur with DOTD's bid process and the fact that they have recommended the low bidder to us. If we want to obtain the 80% federal funding for this project, we must concur and enter into an agreement with the low bidder, Cass Brothers.
Correct. And most of the funding's coming from the federal government on this, right?
80% of $3.4 million, roughly, yes.
Great. Anybody else? Councilmembers in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 15F is summary ordinance number 13,343. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Coast to Coast Custom Mobile Vending LLC for the purchase of a custom-built trailer in the amount of $7,460 in accordance with letter bid number 23-2083 for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Got a motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Dunn. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, 15F? Seeing none, councilmembers in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 15G is summary ordinance number 13,344. An ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with NOLA Sports Center for the use of the Butch Dewey Playground.
Got a motion by Councilmember Schwartz, seconded by Councilmember McKinney on 15G. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Mr. Al Morelli, you have 3 minutes.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 51 years. At the last council meeting, this appeared on the agenda at the last council meeting as 15D. And speaker came up here. It was removed from the agenda. Speaker came up here and he wanted to know why. He couldn't get a straight answer. He was told to confer with Councilwoman D. Dunn at the conclusion of the meeting. Well, I have the answer why it was removed. NOLA Sports is in bad standing with the Secretary of State's office for not submitting reports that they are required to submit on an annual basis. And the way I understand it, they're still in bad standing. That problem has not been corrected as of this time. And if it has, anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. But if they still in bad standing with the Secretary of State's office, I oppose this ordinance. And I don't think we should be doing business with someone who can't file reports in a timely fashion as required by the Secretary of State's office. And one more thing before I leave this podium. I want to know, how is this in the best interest of the people in District 1 and the people in the city of Kenner? Because I'm hearing different things through different circles that this could be costing the city of Kenner money to enter into this cooperative endeavor, to have someone come in there and use that property that belongs to us.
Yeah.
So I'd like an explanation on how it's been in our best interest, and if in fact these people have corrected their problem with the Secretary of State's office.
Can I answer that?
I'm done. I'm listening for your explanation,
Okay.
Councilwoman.
Okay, well, for number one, this is not an ordinance in my district. It's really in Council 2 in his district.
Well, I apologize then.
Thank you.
They close together. I apologize. Anybody else?
All right, Mr. Al, I'll address some of your concerns. From my information, what I'm told, they're in good standing. think they even just looked at it again to confirm that they're in good standing. This isn't selling any city property. It's entering into an agreement with an organization that is going to put, or wants to put Buddy Lawson Gym back into use. It's the hat. Butch Dewey, back into use. Butch Dewey hasn't had organized recreation programs in that gym for the better part of 10 years. It's been sitting vacant and not used at all. The Butch Dewey baseball is under a cooperative endeavor agreement now with East Bank Little League and Chappelle High School for a little, since 2019, I believe. I know it's East Bank Little League. The same agreement we have with Mount Carmel with Mus Bertolino. It's a cooperative endeavor agreement. They come in, they put a lot of capital in upgrading the facility for use for their programs. If you read the supplemental programs that they have to give to the citizens of Kenner, they have to provide stuff free of charge to residents of Kenner. So if this company doesn't come in the CEA in Butch Dewey will probably sit vacant for another multiple years because of the upgrades needed, the lack of children wanting to participate in sports, in recreation. So this is just trying to get some organization to come in and put sports back in some of these neighborhood playgrounds. And that's pretty much it. Doesn't cost the city much of anything. They pay us. And I think it's $20,000 over the first, usually that's what it is, a couple of years of improvements they have to make. And so that's it. I mean, Natalie can expand if I missed anything, but as of now, the most we're doing with Butch Dewey Gym is paying utilities on it. So if you have anything to add, Natalie, you can, that I didn't, or
Sure,
misspoke.
you covered most of it. I'd just like to add that the Recreation Department tracks where our kids are coming from that are participating in our programs. The lowest areas where we draw kids from. First is Lincoln Manor, second is Buddy Lawson, third is Butch Dewey. The numbers are terrible. Our most successful programs in recreation are those that we have with public-private partnerships, and there's only 2 of them. We can barely get people to come coach. We are begging for volunteers to come coach. The reason they're successful is because we partner with organizations who understand the sports that they're providing to our kids. The first one is our soccer program. It's led by Rummel's head soccer coach. He also runs DFC club soccer. The second one we had was with Coconut Beach. We utilized their coaches and their players to coach. This provides another opportunity for Kenner residents to have quality coaching in addition to other supplemental programs. One of the needs we've heard from the public is that we don't offer programs for teenagers. A lot of that has to do with volunteers. This company is going to come in and offer programs for 13 to 15-year-olds. They'll finally have somewhere to go. In addition, it's in a gym, so it's not going to be rained out. It'll be something that they can have consistently. There's a myriad of supplemental programs, but when you're talking about additional costs, we're not going to be doing anything to that facility that we wouldn't already be doing. The exception is they are going to put in capital improvements to make it a better facility. They are going to be offering programs where we don't have to pay for them. So we're actually, I don't want to say making money, but we're better off. The utilities on this building alone over the last year have cost the city over $20,000. They're taking over the utilities. So for the information to be out there that this is going to cost the city money, it's not going to cost us any more than we're spending today, and we can actually take that utility money and put it back into other recreation programs.
Okay, can I add just one thing, Councilman Lahat?
Yeah, 47.28 seconds.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Ms. Newton, for the explanation. And I just want to add one thing. Is that why item 15D was removed off the agenda at the last meeting? because at that time, they were in bad standing with the Secretary of State's office. Am I correct on that?
No, sir, that's not the reason it was removed. It was removed because there was some pushback from the community, and honestly, this is a better fit for the programming for the Recreation Department, but it was originally placed in Lincoln Manor to supplement the after-school program, and for those kids who are probably in the most need to be able to have somewhere to walk and have programming. It's unfortunate where this is going to be located. People are going to have to drive to get to it, and so it's not going to be able to serve some of the kids that we are actively seeking to serve.
Okay, one more thing, thank you, Ms. Newton. One more thing, real quick. Were they ever in bad standing with the Secretary of State's office?
Yes, sir. They had not filed a report because since Ida, when they were forced to move out of the Esplanade Mall, they went to their temporary location, knew they were going to expand, and they were waiting to find a permanent home. So Councilman Schwartz brought that to my attention, and they immediately became back in good standing for filing their report, and they'll have to file again if their address changes again.
Okay? Strict oversight with these people by the city of Kenner, since that's their track record.
Mr. Rao, your
I'm
time's up.
I'm done.
I gave you all your 3 minutes talking.
Thank you, Councilman Lahat. That's just a little payback from the previous times I was up here, when I took maybe about a minute or maybe 50 or 40 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Councilman
Yes.
Brannigan would like to speak.
Yeah, Councilman Brannigan.
Ms. Newton, am I correct that we will be the only indoor soccer facility in this geographical area?
That's correct. No other recreation program in the metropolitan area has indoor soccer right now. We will be the first.
And I don't know if everybody's noticed, but soccer is a big deal. There's a lot of children playing soccer now instead of football, and that's why those numbers are dwindling some. And to go back, when you look at the participation at Butch Dewey, last year they had 4 people sign up for baseball, 1 for softball, 3 for boys basketball, 0 for girls basketball. Those numbers are really low. And when you look at participation in Kenner Recreation, the numbers have been going up, and this program is being rebuilt from the bottom up. When you look at the numbers of the children that are in T-ball leagues and the younger age groups, that's going to start to go through our system, and it's going to take a couple of years to get the numbers up in the age groups as these T-ballers move up and get a little bit older. So Kenner Rec is on a move in the right direction. And I want to thank our Recreation Director, Charles Alon, for the hard work that he puts in. And Ms. Newton also is very involved in recreation, and it's a plus to have those two working on our recreation department. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilmot.
Thank you, Council President. I'm not necessarily against the CEA that's being brought up in this legislation regarding Butch Dewey, but I do have my issues with it. First off, it's a 5-year contract, if I understand correctly, and with a right of renewal and that type of thing. So it's an extensive contract, and basically it involves the gym itself, and it also involves the concession stand. So, and similar things were brought up in Lincoln Manor. And Lincoln Manor, they have a civic association there, and it voiced out, and it made, once it found out the issue, it voiced out. And yeah, they did have pushback there, and that's probably why the thing was removed off the agenda. And it's because it wasn't vetted right with that community. And nor is this. This is not being vetted right with this community. And I can say that because I know I've gotten one email for sure from a concerned citizen saying just that. And he would like to see basketball brought back. And that's not going to happen if this goes forward. So I do have my problems with it, how it's being vetted and how it's being handled. This community should be involved in the process. All communities, anytime you're going to go ahead and make a CEA to one of the gyms, any gym in Kenner, That's the government property. Now, if it's a school board property, it may be different, but if it's the government property, if it's a city property, it should be vetted, it should be clear that the citizens don't have a problem with it. They should understand and have that opportunity to understand what's going on with that gym. You got a lot of people that grew up in these different park systems, and they have their children and their grandchildren, and they want to see them do something similar how they grew up in the sports and how they participated. And when you have these CEAs come in, it just, and I understand the city's position. We do have some financial crisis when it comes to our park system. And we would like to have an outsider come in and take over and relieve us from those responsibilities. But it's got to be crystal clear to the public what's going on. And if it's not, we shouldn't do it. In this case, I think this item should be deferred. And I'm going to let the presentation go forward before I decide if I'm going to move on that. Thank you.
I'd just like to add, we're in the appropriate environment for the public to voice their opinion right now. And I'm happy to listen to anybody who wants to comment on it.
I would like to comment on it now myself because I mean, what you just said is not fully correct. There should be a town hall. Letters should go out to people in the community. There should be a town hall meeting on this, and it could be vetted and let them air their concerns. There are people who have, like one in particular has contacted me via email. He's probably not here, but he definitely voiced his concern to me, and that's what I'm here for, because if there's one person saying that, I guarantee you there's at least a dozen more. And they're not here. They may be at work. Today's a work day. And I just don't think it's fair to that community to have something that is this permanent take place, and they're at work.
I'd be happy if you would forward that concern to me.
Hold on. Yeah, Ryan was, yeah. Councilmember Schwartz.
Yes, sir, Councilman, thank you, but I did respond. You forwarded it to me, and I did respond. My response is, hi, buddy. Thanks for your response, because I know the individual. The gym has been closed since 2019. Not like we are kicking somebody out. There's little support for the Butch Street Playground, and for the matter, all playgrounds in Kenner. Not like the days when we played. For instance, the boys 7 and 8, there were only enough kids to field 3 teams. But that's for the whole city of Kenner. Robbie and Matt played, and we had 3 teams at Westgate alone. Again, boys 9 and 10, only enough to field 3 teams. Rec ball is not like it used to be. The floor is still concrete from idle damage. The roof still hasn't been permanently repaired. Just not enough kids or coaches to warrant the gym to be open. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the facts. NOLA Sports will be turning the gym into an indoor soccer facility. On their nickel, it won't cost the city a penny. Rec indoor soccer will be added to the Kenner Recreation Sports Program. The good old days are gone. I wish I could keep it open, but it's not fiscally sound and hurts the recreation financially when there is not enough money to begin with. Buddy, please give me a call. I have yet to receive a response, and I sent this 3 days ago. So, yes, I've reached out to him, the concerned citizen,
Ronnie, turn your
and
mic.
he still hasn't called.
Someone. I can't. I just realized you're not on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It wasn't on. Yeah, I couldn't hear it. Okay.
So yes, I have reached out to my friend, and he hasn't responded. If he was really, really in his heart, he wanted to bring it back, he would have called me. So I understand it's concern, but what we're doing here, we're going to start offering a program that's not offered anywhere else. And the very end, Mr. Raphael, I know you're back there, sir. I know you can bring forward some more information on this. What you plan on doing as far as helping the kids, the parents, and the organization. Mr. Taft, would you like Mr. Raphael to talk first, or would you like to speak first? Okay. Please, Mr. Raphael.
Yeah,
Mr. Raphael, please say your name for the record, please.
Raphael Carmona with NOLA Sports Center. So one of the ideas that I had, we had to close during Hurricane Ida when the hurricane hit. The mall was having issues already. We relocated temporarily at the Sunrise Community Club. But you know, that was a temporary location. We always wanted to bring this back to Kenner residents. Our programming, it's really gonna help the city bring the kids back, increase their participation, add supplemental programming, do free clinics throughout the year. And it's not a new CEA, it's been done with other organizations that are also providing you know, places for kids to go out and participate. And you know, not only will we be doing the clinics and the programming, we have different programs also for adults. Leagues. There's the Kenner community has increased the Hispanic community since the Hurricane Katrina, by a lot. So there's something to where the community can come together and enjoy the sports, engage in sports, and it's a best thing. I'm all about bringing the sport to the community and helping out in those ways. We're also going to be offering community clinics, health and wellness seminars. We're going to do programming where we're going to be bringing in just different aspects. We can offer dodgeball, which we do now. Activities just to engage the kids and get them to come out and become active. If there's any other questions that anybody else has and wants to meet personally, and I can share more information.
Thank you. Councilman.
Mr. Raphael?
Oh.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Hold on. You still need to ask him questions, or?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead, Ronnie. Yeah, go ahead.
It's true that you're going to be offering, like, more or less clinics and seminars, not only for the kids, but also for the parents. To kind of teach them the rules of the game and teach them how they can teach their kids on how to help them play the game better.
Yeah, correct. So we have qualified coaching, and our programs involve child development programs from age 2 and 3 years old all the way to 12. And we're also going to be bringing in doing tournaments. So I'm very involved in the Hispanic community and the soccer programs, and we're planning on bringing in tournaments for weekends, but that's going to also attract folks to come and spend money in restaurants in the area, and just bring back everyone together. And it's I don't see, if the facility is not being used and there is improvements that need to be done to the facility, it's a win-win. The facility gets to have the improvements needed, and then you get to bring the kids back and enjoy sports. And there's other opportunities in this indoor field, so it's going to be an indoor, just like we did in the mall. We redeveloped a retail space and make it where it was being used for sports. So it will be, there's flag football that can be done. There's baseball in case of bad weather. So there's things that we can get creative, and all we're doing is supplying quality coaching. The health and wellness seminars, we're going to be having professionals come out and educate parents while the kids are playing. So there's a variety of activities that we're going to be offering that is going to have an impact in this community.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, Councilman Brannigan.
Well, I don't see any reason to defer this and let this get away from the city of Kenner. And the guy that wants to bring basketball back to Butch Dewey with 3 boys only sign up for basketball, you can't even field a team. It's a different ball game now. Back in the 90s, when I was involved in the recreation department at Bertolino, we had 1,200 kids playing baseball. We had 600 kids playing basketball just at that one park. When you look at what the recreation department is doing now, 8,898 emails are sent out. Everybody's got one of these. Text messages go out. 3,934 were opened. 399 clicked the registration desk to look at what's out there. 6,000 flyers have been sent to schools. 50 dropped at 18 to 20 businesses throughout the city and restaurants. The problem is we don't have the registration in the city of Kenner, and the recreation department is trying everything that they can to get people in to facilities to play in leagues. It's never, ever going to be the way it was 20 years ago. It's a different ball game now. Travel ball, AAU, all these other programs that kids are involved in take away. We try to get as many in as possible. I think this is a no-brainer. We're offering something that is not offered anywhere else in this area. It's going into a facility that has not been used for 10 years, and they're doing the renovations and everything. This makes no sense to defer this legislation, and I will not vote to defer it.
Let's go ahead and Mr. Taft, if you want to take your 3 minutes, I'll go ahead and start you now.
Yes, Greg Taft, 5th District. Actually, I just got a couple comments that I'd like to make. First of all, yes, this deal has a lot of caveats that the other one didn't have. That's obvious. He's offering more. But I think the city is still giving away something that they shouldn't have to give when you consider that we're giving them exclusive rights to the gym, for example, to provide a discount of 25%. What kind of deal is that for our kids? And it's for the drop and play and train and mini soccer kicks. We're offering a discount, but you know, because Kenner owns that, it should be for our children to meet free. The other thing I have to say is that he has it looks like he has a ceiling of how much he can, or what once he gets over a parameter of 20,000, now he gets to deduct that overage from his rent. So don't say that Kenner is paying nothing, because that is a lie. Because if we're subsidizing after this ceiling is met, we're paying it. The citizens is paying it, period. And I think that should be taken out. And again, if you're going to go through with it, like I said, I don't like the discount. I think that should be taken out. You want kids to participate? I agree. But you know what? There's a lot of families paying $100 to $150 to go to Jefferson Parish. We shouldn't have lost that in the first place, but we did. Now we're paying for it. But recreation director, his job or her job is to get that thing running. And it doesn't matter what it takes. They got to figure out a way to make it happen. Well, we're going to use a system like this to make that happen. Well, that may be good. But these things that I just brought up should be taken out, because I think our children should have the benefits, since it is still owned by Kenner. And I think that we shouldn't have to worry about a ceiling, that if he reaches that 20,000 mark, that now we get to deduct that from the rent. I don't think that's a good idea. And that's my comment. If we're going to go through with it, I'd like to see that taken out. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Councilman Brannigan would like to respond.
Councilman Brannigan.
Mr. Taft, you are correct. We have lost a lot of kids to Jefferson Parish, and the reason that we lost a lot of kids at Jefferson Parish is because the rehabilitation of the facilities in Kenner was not started until Mike Laser took office. Everything was in shambles after Ida. Nothing was done. They were told, the recreation people had nothing, they couldn't do anything. Those kids that went to Jefferson Parish are probably not coming back to Kenner now. They're playing with kids that they like and friends that they have met, And, you know, it's a situation you're not going to get them back. We have to build from the bottom up. And when you look at the numbers in the younger age groups, that's what's going to drive Kenner Recreation in the next couple of years. When you have utilities at 20 grand a year, and you got 29 kids signing up for flag football, cheer, soccer, volleyball, boys basketball, girls basketball, baseball, and softball in a year, that's almost $1,000 a kid. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but that gym is not used for anything in the Kenner Recreation Department. These kids sign up. You go to sign up, they put the teams together. The 7-8 boys played at Green Lawn Playground in baseball. The 9-10 boys played there. The T-ball played at Woodlake. That's the way it is now. You will never have teams at every age, at every playground and every age group. You can't feel them. The numbers aren't there. So this is a no-brainer. I feel it's a no-brainer, and we better not let this go.
Councilman, I have to agree with you on this. You're absolutely correct. After Hurricane Katrina, every mayor thereafter put recreation on the back burner, whether it was by design or what have you. And when that happened, that's when the migration started moving toward Jefferson Parish.
Mr. Taft, your 3 minutes has now
Thank
expired.
you.
We appreciate you being here today.
Can I offer a correction to something Mr. Teff said?
Sure.
I just want to make sure it's on the record that the only thing Kenner residents are getting, he said, is the 25% discount. There's a myriad of free programs that will be allotted to Kenner residents through this program. 2 days of after-school free play every week. Free 1 hour bi-weekly of health and wellness activity, which will vary from the following. Ms. Raphael explained some of those programs that's open to parents and kids. 2 weekends every month. Right now we have no weekend programs in the city of Kenner through recreation. A free voucher exclusive to Kenner residents to a mini soccer kicks introduction class, 3 and 4-year-old, 5 and 6-year-old once per year. Classes may be limited in numbers for safety, but shall serve no less than 100 participants annually. Work together with Kenner Recreation for a 1-month league in the summer or winter. Raphael is also, these are minimums. He's offered more. So that's a free league for Kenner residents that shall serve, let's see. It'll be either a kickball league, lacrosse, flag football, or soccer. It may differ depending on summer or winter. Provide at least 2 free community clinics for Kenner residents ages 4 through 12, spring and winter. Clinics may be limited in number, but shall serve no less than 200 participants annually. These are exclusive to Kenner residents. Provide at least 4 community clinics for Kenner residents aged 13 through 15. Clinics may be limited in numbers for safety, but shall serve no less than 100 participants annually. And the last program is if they want to do the programs that this club offers and people pay for, lots of people pay for them, Kenner residents exclusively get a 25% discount.
Thank you, Deputy Newton. Councilman Wilmot?
I just wanted to clarify, I'm not necessarily against this program and what is being proposed with this legislation, but I do, and I just want to make it absolutely clear, I think it needs to be vetted differently than just this form. I think there ought to be a town hall. I think there ought to be signs placed. I think the people in the community ought to have a chance to have input, and I just don't think it's happening, that's all. And that's why I'm going to oppose this legislation. Thank you.
Okay. I have a comment, but let's go to straight out of District 3, Mr. Ryan Nugent. You ready for your 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go.
I'm actually going to be very brief, and Councilman Wilmot literally just said most of what I came up here to say, but I'm going to say it again just to really drive home the point. I do think this sounds like a good proposal and potentially a great opportunity for the city. I would, however, like I said, want to reiterate exactly what Councilman Wilmot was saying, and it's simply that in general, and it's not necessarily exclusive to this project, but that we could do a much better job of engaging the community on the front end. This is an issue that's unique to Kenner. This came up in Jefferson Parish when they did some reshuffling in their sports programs and their facilities recently, and they had a similar kind of blowback. And that same kind of thing would probably been avoided, or at least mitigated, if there was more engagement on the front end. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let's reset
I went
to Brian Miller. We start your 3 minutes right now.
Brian Miller, 2nd District. My question would be to you, Councilman Wilmot, in that I'm not against what NOLA wants to do or what the city wants to do. It's obvious we need some type of financing going into the playgrounds to help our city. But through you and to, I believe y'all said his name was Mr. Raphael, I heard soccer. I heard soccer. We have kids out here that play basketball, baseball, football. So would those same clinics be put on for those type sports, not just soccer? Does your company do that? Would they have clinics for those type sports? And then to you, Mr. Wilmot, my question is this. I agree with you. Agree with the young man that was just up here that it does take a community. Having gone to the Jefferson Parish Recreation Reimagine or Reimagine Recreation meetings throughout the playgrounds over there and listening, it does take the community. What I don't think is that the mayor, just like I told Parish President Chang, I don't think the mayor has to be the one to walk into the neighborhood to give that advertisement out. Obviously, we have people throughout this city in all districts that don't social media, that don't watch the television maybe as often as they should. So what we need is our legislative representative, which happens to be the 7 of you, to help get that word out to our communities and districts and playground areas, aside from the gentleman from Recreation or the directors of each playground. They have to do it. So I don't want to just put the blame on the mayor or his staff because they're short and we need more help. And as far as to, I believe y'all called her Miss Newton, Miss Norton, I would offer you this. Y'all said you don't have them. I'll volunteer to coach at a playground. I volunteer to come here to the council meetings. I'll coach at a playground. I did it before back there at Mount Bertolina with the baseball and football. But we need, if I'm going to go volunteer, what we need is your help as our elected officials to get the word out to the neighborhoods. Not everybody, I heard you, one of y'all put your phone up. Not everybody works off of the cell phone. My mom's 84, trust me, I have to show her how to turn it on and answer it. So not everybody does it. We need that kind of help.
All right. Okay, anybody else?
Hi, I just have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am. Hold on, state your name.
Marielle Toscano.
Okay.
Kenner.
Go ahead.
Anyway, what about using people who live in Kenner who are famous to help advertise for sports? For instance, the basketball player who lives in Gabriel. We have a few, athletes that maybe we could put their picture on. Just a thought, anyway.
Okay. Thank you. All right,
Hi, my name is Bernie
hold on. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on 1 second.
Sorry.
We have to go by the rules of order here for our council, okay? I do.
Oh,
I like to be
sorry.
fair to every single person, give you every second you want. Okay, state your name, please, and let's go.
Hi, my name is Bernie LeBarrier, 5th District. I grew up in the city of Kenner, grew up Recreation. I also have a 13-year-old son. Played for a while until there is nobody, and I get it. I mean, I signed my son up 1 year, and they were like, there's no basketball coaches. And I was like, I played a little bit of basketball, I coached. But also, I've heard Mr. Brannigan, you said like flyers were sent out for schools and stuff. I never receive any flyers. My son goes to Kenner Discovery. I don't get text messages. And like Mr. Bryan said, not everybody uses social media and everything like that. I have reached out to, I think his name is Mr. Charles, that's with the Recreation. I reached out to him personally and said, I will make flyers and do this and do that. I've never gotten anything back. I am a resident of Kenner with a child who plays Recreation, who did for years. I am willing to help. I will get with any of y'all The kids need this. This is for the kids. If any of y'all want to get with me, I am willing to help. I'm also with the fire department, and I'm pretty sure some of our guys are willing to help. So I'll be here after if anybody wants to get with me to get my ideas and concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience? I want to close with some comments, things we didn't say today. The CEAs bring economic development. They benefit. People come to Kenner, and I'll give Councilwoman an example. I'm involved in the Chappelle CEA, and the last few years we've had teams from across the state come to play Chappelle at Butch Dewey. I mean, Ronnie's playground is one of the most active playgrounds in Kenner because of the CEA agreements, and I'm jealous because Gladys hardly ever gets used. We have people that come in, kids from all walks of life. They come to Kenner and they use our services. They go to our restaurants. I'm involved in the Chappelle CEA. Chappelle is going to be offering clinics for local Kenner residents, at least 5 of them, from probably the best softball coach in the whole state right now, Scott O'Brien, who's been in the state semifinals in Seoul for the last few years. So, and we've been working on that. Deputy Natalie Newton is very, very cognizant of the public requirement and benefit for these CEAs, which I've been talking with her a lot about Chappelle. And East Bank and Chappelle are 2 examples of great programs for kids in Kenner. Councilman Brannigan is correct. We don't have the numbers anymore. And even Jefferson Parish, they have problems. They have Jefferson Parish kids. They play in the private leagues. I mean, that's why that reimagined thing happened with Cynthia Lee Sheng. They have problems with numbers there too. So that is not unique to the city of Kenner. I love the CEAs. We talked about that in the budget meetings we had months ago. I think as long as some public benefit there, I think it's a great idea. And I think we should vote on this today. I'm not going to vote on a deferral, but I just want to applaud Ms. Newton for centralizing the public benefit of all this, and it is really a good deal for Kenner, in my opinion. Councilman Wilmot.
Yeah, and again, I just want to make it absolutely clear. I'm not necessarily against CEAs. That's not what I've been saying all along. It's really just the vetting process that I have a problem with. It's the procedure, and that's all. Thank you.
Okay, so are you motioning for a deferral, or are we not at this point?
I have not moved for it because it
Okay.
appears that it's going to call for a vote. So thank you.
Okay, so no deferral, back to the original legislation. At this point, council members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. 5-1.
Motion passes 5-1. Councilmember Wilmot is opposed. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance accepting the quote received from Duhon Machinery Company Incorporated, an authorized dealer to repair Unit 2004, a 2006 Bobcat Versandheld, in the amount of $11,018.85 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16B is an ordinance accepting the quote received from Louisiana Cat, an authorized dealer for parts and labor, to repair Unit 2155, a 2016 420 backhoe, in an amount not to exceed $50,000 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16C is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Howell Fencing to furnish and install puppy panel fencing at Kenner Dog Park in accordance with letter bid 23-2085 in the amount of $15,480 for the Department of General Services. Item 16D is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Technis Systems Incorporated to purchase 1 DC welder unit in accordance with letter bid 23-2084 in the amount of $5,400 for the Department of General Services. Item 16E is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Dedham Sportsman Center Incorporated, doing business as AAA Police Supply, to purchase 150 Type 2 adjustable LED RMR 3.25 MOA red dot sights in accordance with seal bid number 23-6780 in the amount of $64,897.50 for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16F is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from ECB Solutions LLC to purchase one transformer with terminals in accordance with seal bid number 23-6785 in the amount of $21,471 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16G is an ordinance ratifying the emergency repair of the rotating assembly at 25th and Salem Lift Station by Fluid Processing Pumps LLC in the amount of $9,988 for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16H is an ordinance ratifying the emergency replacement of the external spur drive gears for the Ashbrook Belt Press by GSM Engineered Fabrics LLC in the amount of $6,532.88 for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16I is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from MR Pittman Group LLC to rehabilitate WWTP number 3 clarifiers 1 through 4 in accordance with seal bid number 23-6783 in the amount of $4,468,900 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16J is an ordinance ratifying the emergency purchase of electrical wiring for the digester electrical panel at the wastewater treatment plant by New Light Electrical Wholesalers in the amount of $30,494.59 for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16K is an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Roman Catholic Church of the Archdiocese of New Orleans doing business as Archbishop Chappelle High School for the use of Butch Dewey Playground. Thank you. Item 16L is an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between the City of Kenner and the Parish of Jefferson to provide street repairs and resurfacing to 31st Street between Helena Street and the Duncan Canal in Kenner, Louisiana, in an amount not to exceed $340,000. Item 17 is reports from the council and/or special committees.
The council. Councilman Wilmot?
Yeah, I'd just like to mention again, I know we already voted on it and passed it, but 15D is the Roosevelt project from West Napoleon to West Metairie, a much-needed project, and I'm delighted that we got that done. I know Ronnie Swarth and several members of the administration and myself and several of the other council members as well had gone to a meeting over there and heard the concerns of the citizens, and that to me that's important, handling things that way. And of course they were able to vet it, and we were able to listen to their concerns, and we did a lot of things already to help with that issue. And of course then we have this project that's forthcoming, so that's fantastic. And I'd like to also thank, it's a federal project as well as a state project, and I know Representative Stagney also had help with that as well, and it's a huge project, so good job. Thank y'all.
Anybody else? Madam Clerk?
Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Before we do that, Mayor Glazer?
Yeah, I just want to, I know Mr. Al asked me if the assistant in the mayor's office is a new position. I guess it can be, it's an unfilled position now, but the responsibilities have expanded. So I just want to clarify, it's a position that's unfilled now that had limited responsibility. We expanded the responsibilities, and if someone thinks that's a new position, that's kind of my explanation of it. It's a budgeted position now that I expanded the responsibilities in. That's it.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, first up to the podium, we have Mr. Matthew Hotard, please. Mr. Hotard, you have 3 minutes, and let's start now.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Matthew Hotard, 66 Red Oak Drive, Kenner, President of Kenner Firefighter Association. First and foremost, I wanted to congratulate Mickey Geruso, who's behind me. He just retired with 33 years in the Kenner Fire Department. I'd like to thank him for his service to the city. The second thing is, I would like to commend Chief Conley. I've come to more meetings than I'd like to admit, and almost every meeting I'm hearing of money that is coming into the police department that is from other sources, whether it be grants or going out and beating the streets and getting legislation behind the department. Being a citizen of Kenner, not only does it give me peace of mind to know that the police officers are being taken care of with the latest equipment to do their jobs properly, keep them safe, but also keep the citizens safe. And I would hope that our department can maybe take a page out of your book to help with our department. I know that it helps with the bottom line. There's a lot to be learned there, so I wanted to commend you on that, and whoever helps you work on that. The last thing is, yesterday around 4:30 p.m., there was a vehicle that went into the canal on West Esplanade. Being on the rescue truck, our truck was the first on scene, and it's not often when you pull up to an incident like this that you get to see humans being awesome. To see a vehicle go in the canal can be a scary thing. A lot of people, to be honest with you, and it's sad to say this, the first thing that happens is their phones come out. What we saw when we first got there was all ages, all races, male and female, in the water, pulling these two gentlemen out and working to get them stabilized and make sure they were safe. There's something to be said about the way that our country and world is at this point, but to see these people forgetting everything that, you know, your instinct tells you, fight or flight, there obviously was not even a hesitation because we were there very quick. And I didn't get their names, but if anybody knows them or they're watching this, I would like to commend them on putting their lives on the line for complete strangers. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hotard. Next up, we have Mickey Geruso.
Mickey Geruso, 123 Oak Lawn Ridge Lane, St. Rose. I'm a retired fireman as of Friday last, 33 years as a district chief, also past president of the association. Mainly came here because I watched a meeting. I was unable to come, but I watched a meeting, and Councilman Schwartz really got to me a little bit, making accusations that firemen just sit in the station and do nothing. And he knows that's not a fact. He knows that we have to go across the river on a regular basis and train. And we're required to train in the station on a regular basis. We're required to do pre-plans and hydrant testing and go out to school for show and tell. We train with Homeland Security for terrorism, bombs. We work with the police department very well, may I say. So it's not like firemen, they might not see our trucks riding around all day long, but we're busy, and we stay busy. And what has the association done? For the last 33 years that I've been a fireman, we fought City Hall. We fought City Hall for adequate manpower on a truck, adequate equipment to do our jobs, updated equipment to protect the guys that are fighting a fire. I can tell you right now, in the stations right now, we still have AFFF foam, that's cancer-causing foam, that this department is still using. You'd think y'all would take that out of service. Just a thought. So we do a lot. Kind of lost my train of thought there. Anyway, we've gone to, in the past when millages have come up, members of our associations have gone to more civic associations than I know we had to speak in favor of it, to try to educate the public on what we need. From the time I got on in 1990 to present, we've added fire stations, we've added personnel, yet we're still running on the same amount of millage or less. And without dedicated money to the fire department, the mayor's right. We got to continually pull from the city just to keep the department afloat. And then you have the fire chief gets back $900,000 when we have stations that still need to be repaired. The old Station 38 had mold. We had one guy that was hospitalized, almost died from the mold in there. That the city kept saying it didn't have mold. And it wasn't until the association got somebody to go in there and test it and proved that it was mold, and they had to move the guys out to mediate it. So we have 2 stations right now that have mold that, to my knowledge, still has not been remediated. And that's Station 35 at City Hall and Station 37.
Mr. Jerusa, thank you so much. Your time's up, but thank you for your service in Kenner. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you all for having me.
Congratulations again.
I'll see y'all at the next one.
All righty. All right, next up we have actually Ryan Nugent's next up. Sorry, Al.
It's okay.
I've never seen you this far back before. You okay?
I was busy talking.
All right, Ryan, I know you got some things to show us, I think.
Yeah, just
I told you could
couple-
bring, that's fine, but I'm going to start you right now.
All right, thank you, Councilman Lahat. My name is Ryan Nugent. I live at 5444 Erlanger Road in District 3. 2 weeks ago, I promised everyone a brief lesson on lighting. I spent a lot of time at this podium telling everyone that one type of lighting is better than another, and I'm here today to help explain the why. And the new lighting in this room provides me with an excellent opportunity to illustrate some important lighting concepts. Let me begin by making sure everyone is familiar with a few terms, especially since 2 of them are very frequently confused. The first is lumens. This is the unit used to measure the output or brightness of a light. The second term is Kelvin. The Kelvin scale is used to indicate the color temperature of the light. For example, 2700 Kelvin, like the lights in the fans, or 5000 Kelvin, like the bulbs in the ceiling. The third metric is the color rendering index, or CRI. This tells you how true or accurate colors appear under the light. Most people who think they want a higher color temperature are really looking for a higher CRI. It's not unusual to have clients tell me that they don't like yellow light and that they want the whitest light possible for their fixtures. So I'll send them 2 boxes of bulbs. One will be 5000K daylight bulbs, and the other will be akin to GE's Reveal series, a line of bulbs with 27 or 3000K color temperatures and very high CRIs. Unfailingly, they choose the Reveal bulbs because, like I said, it's actually a high CRI, true color, that they're looking for, not a higher color temperature. This is another one of the most misunderstood concepts in lighting. So, why is it that the 5000K bulbs above us now don't flatter anyone in the room? Well, there are 2 types of melanin in our skin, one responsible for the brown and black tones, and one responsible for the yellow and red tones. Every person, regardless of race or skin color, has these 2 pigments. So when light is emitted at the same wavelengths as melanin, it enhances the natural warm tones of our skin. Since these particular bulbs are heavy on the blue and lacking in other wavelengths, the only people whose appearance they might enhance are members of the Blue Man Group. The lighting needs of this particular space are threefold. We need to be functional in service of its use as a council chamber, we want it to be aesthetically pleasing, and we want the space and the people in it to look good on camera. Given those criteria, the best way to illuminate this room is by using lighting with a lower, i.e. warmer color temperature, and most importantly, a higher CRI. I hope this presentation has been informative, and I hope you'll keep these concepts in mind when I speak on lighting in the future. This information applies to all lighting, including the lighting in your homes and businesses, and to all of the city-owned lighting in Kenner. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. I do have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is there any correlation in science between this 5000 Kelvin light and productivity versus the other Kelvin you would want in here?
There are associations or implications for productivity and associations and repercussions when it comes to things like eye strain, but the biggest factor when it comes to all of these things comes down to CRI. It is actually possible to purchase a bulb at that color temperature that actually projects more of the spectrum as opposed to just heavy on the blue. So it does become a little bit more of a complex science at that point.
Okay. Thanks so much. That was great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Al Morella.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 51 years. I want to start out by thanking the speakers to take the time and come down here and participate in their government. I'd like to come down here to one meeting and see standing room only in here, and a sign-in sheet full of names. Maybe one day I'll get to see it. I want to congratulate Mr. Jeruso thank him for his service, congratulate him on his retirement. I hope he enjoys his as much as I'm enjoying mine. I've been retired 15 years come February, Fats Domino's birthday. I took it on a day I'll never forget. Big Fats Domino fan. Okay, I want to address this to Ms. Waggersback. Now, I've always known her as Ms. Waggersback. It's easy to remember her maiden name than it is her married name. She started her career down here many years ago, right here in Kenner. That's how I know her. Okay? The position that she is filling is basically legislative and administrative expertise, which she has a lot of that. Now, we had a problem with the Jefferson Parish Finance Authority. We had a cloud of controversy hanging over that agency down there. And, you know, a former council member down here, it was alleged that he inflated his pension. And he was allowed to retire with it anyway, you know, because of politics involved. Ms. Waggersback was tapped to go to be the chair of that organization, parish agency, and she did implement some reforms over there. And then she wound up in another capacity, okay, with the administration. So I know her a long time, and she does have a lot of legislative and administrative expertise, okay? So I just wanted to clear the air on that and welcome you aboard, Ms. Waggersback. Thank you very much. That's about all I have. And one more thing concerning this item with Butch Dewey. For years, we've had issues back here with booster clubs at our playground. No oversight, no accountability for what was going on, how much money was being raised by these booster clubs, how it was being appropriated. So this is once again why I say, and Councilman Wilmot mentioned, concessions is involved here as well. Same thing. I want strict oversight with these people, with anybody that gets in bad standing with the Secretary of State's office, they need to be watched very closely. And I want a full accountability of the money that they raise that derived from Butch Dewey through those concessions. And a report to the people of Kenner.
Your 3 minutes is up, but
Thank you
so
very much,
for
man.
being here
Anybody
today.
got any comments, any questions? Thank you.
All right, we have one, Jason, give me 1 second. Mr. Greg Teft. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Greg Taft, 5th District. I just have a couple of comments to make. One of them is recently the KPD put out a notice that they were going to start monitoring neighborhoods, which that has got a lot of people's attention. We're really looking forward to that. So I want to tell you that would be great. And you can make a lot of money. Trust me, there's a lot of money to be made. The other thing is, I just want to say this about the fire department. There's a distinction between the fire chief and the police chief. The police chief can go out and find ways to make things happen. The fire chief, though, I will have to say, probably doesn't have that luxury because they serve the mayor. And the mayor can shut them down anytime he wants. So all I'm going to say is this, and I want the citizens to hear it. The problem with part of the problem with the fire department is leadership, because you can't have leadership if it's undermined by higher authority. You've got to keep that in mind. And I think that happens a lot with the fire department. I even remember when I first got involved that the fire chief said, something I said, he said, I can't say that. And that has stuck in the back of my mind, because when he said that to me, it told me then where the politics comes in, because he serves at the pleasure of the mayor. So I just want people to understand that sometimes The responsibility is if you have different authorities to do different things. And unfortunately, he doesn't have the same luxury or freedom of the police chief because you can direct your people. But the fire chief, from what I can gather, doesn't have necessarily all that luxury. And until the mayor gives that fire chief the authority to be able to do things and make decisions on things, we're going to keep having this problem. That's why we're not getting the raises, and that's why we don't have the money, because you're right. When you look at the millage, it's been remaining the same. We were told by a previous administration, all the millage were keeping it down. But you know what? I, as a citizen, didn't realize the impact it was making on the fire department. Because if that millage would have went up, like it's supposed to with the CPI, maybe the
Mr.
fire
Taff, your
department
3
would have
minutes
more
has
money.
expired. I do appreciate you being here today.
Pardon?
Your 3 minutes has expired.
thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Glazer?
It's becoming commonplace that, look, I welcome everybody that comes to the podium and says what they do. You see you have a fire administrator coming up to the podium after that's probably going to agree with me. You have the president and vice president of the fire association back there. I have little to do with the fire department, except, poke fun at them in jest, but the fire chief runs it, the fire administration runs it, the fire association has input in a lot of the meetings that I have. I have zero to do with telling them guys how to run a department I know little about. So that's pretty much it. And I can guarantee you, every one of y'all know that I don't, look, it's their department, you put directors in place and let them do it. The fire department is one thing. I don't know how to do it, except I help them pull hoses down Jefferson Highway every now and again, but look, give them the stuff they need to run their business, and that's it. That's why we're trying to get them a little more money so they can raise some pay and do a little better job of getting better equipment and better salaries and things like that. So, but I have little input in how the fire department runs, at decisions and things like that.
Councilman Schwartz?
As far as the fire chief's position, I interviewed for the position years ago, and I did not get the position, probably thankful, but probably one of the reasons why I didn't get the position, because I was not going to hold my tongue. If you go out there, if a chief doesn't fight for the men because he's worried about losing his job, then he's self-servant. He's not doing the citizens of Kenner any good at all. The department is the life and soul for the protection of this city. So if the chief doesn't fight for the men, then that's on him, but he should. And the citizens of Kenner will back the firefighters. So Jason, you got a big shoes to fill, buddy.
Well, we still have a fire chief at this time.
All right, Jason.
Chief Morse is out of town right now. He's actually in the airport watching the council meeting. As far as the 900,000 he'd like me to address, we do have the numbers on what that 900,000 is. Liz has all the exact, so if questions want to be answered, she has them. As far as the mold at 35, I am currently working on every single fire station, looking at every maintenance item. We are currently at Station 37, dealing with an issue with that station, and that will be addressed. It is being worked with the city, working with Wayne and Mark on a daily basis. They talk to me every single day, so a lot of these issues are all being addressed. 35, it is not in our system right now. I will look into it as soon as I get back to headquarters. The foam situation, we will look into the foam situation. If there's any other issues, we are looking to address all of them. I am working with Ms. Vallow, and we are getting stuff taken care of. And as far as the trucks as well.
Chief Conley?
Yeah, I got a hearing problem. I don't know if Mr. Teff said there was some tension between myself and the fire chief. Oh, okay, all right. No, because we have a great relationship. You know, the police department depends on the men and women of the fire department. as they do us. So we have a great relationship. I just wanted to straighten that out. I got you. Okay.
All right. Is that it? Council members? We done? We're done? Motion to adjourn.